Watch out, little bitch.
Huh?
Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite sports betting. Ah, shit, okay. Get some drink. Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite sport. Ah, shit. Here we go. I'm fucking tripping. Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite MMA sports betting channel, Bros Talk MMA. I'm your host, Utica, undeniably the illest cat around, a.k.a. Mr. Make This Pick Real Quick. I'm here with my bro, host extraordinaire.
You know who it is. It's Ray Bucks. It's Trickle Jordan. It's Ray Mysterio Jr. Junior. I'm going to leave my other monikers. I'm going to tuck those in my pocket. I got to tuck those in my pocket. So we got a new champ. New winner out here. You know what I mean? He's overtaking me in the picks.
Yes, indeed.
He's gone 19-7 in the last two events that he's been in. He's currently at 68-41. I'm at 67-42. Go ahead and explain to the people.
Yes, indeed, folks. UFC 299 and last week's fight night card proved to be redemption worthy for your boy. You know, me and bro, went head to head on some fights, and I just happened to, be the victor in more of them, so, salute. I went 10-4 for picks in UFC 299, and then followed that up with 9-3 in picks for last week's card. So, that felt really good. That leaves me at 68-41 all time. Equaling out to a 62.39% win average. So, doing really well. Bro, in the last two events, unfortunately, he went 8-6 for 299, so not bad at all. 6-6 for last week's event. He should have trusted bro on a few of those fights there, but to each their own. And that leaves him at 67-42 all time, with a 61.47% win average. Hey, we're out here winning. That's all I gotta say. So if you picked with us just strictly on straight up bets alone, you're in the green. So that's something to note. If anything, when we bet together, that's probably what you should roll with. I would steer clear of any fights that me and him go against each other on, because somebody gotta lose. And so far, me and him have shared an equal part of the shit pie. So. But anyways, moving on to the event that we're covering on today's episode, we're going to be going over the UFC Fight Night card between Amanda Ribas going up against Namajunas in the flyweight division. It's going to be a 14-fight card, so let's start off in the heavyweight division with Mohammed Usman going up against Mick Parkin. This is going to be a heavyweight bout. We got Mick Parkin coming in at 8-0, 2-0 in the UFC, and we got Mohammed Usman coming in at 10-2, 3-0 in the UFC, and 4-1 in their last 5. I'm going to be going with Parkin in this fight. I just believe that they'll be the better striker for the course of the fight. I'm not going to say necessarily that they're the better striker overall, but I feel like they're the better striker going into round 3 as opposed to Usman, who I feel like somewhat fades as the fight progresses. So I'm going to be going with Parkin. Although Usman is the more dangerous fighter, I feel like that starts to dissipate as the fight goes on. What do you got?
I got to say that I'm going with the motor. You know what I mean? D1 college defensive end. He's the better wrestler. His training partner is none other than his brother, Kamaru Usman. You know what I mean? Out of Colorado. Gotta keep shouting out Colorado, you know what I mean? Anyway,
in Colorado.
They be training in Colorado, even though I think he's going to call out Arlington, Texas, because I think that's where his true gym is, where he kind of day-to-day trains unless he's going for the fight. Mm-hmm. He is the better wrestler. I think the striking's the same, but I've got to go with the person that when they show up in the ring, they look like a fighter. Nick Parkin looks like a dad who just happens to put on MMA gloves every so often. Mohammed Usman looks like a monster. He looks like he's ready to tear this dude's head off. Now, is he going to tear his head off? No. This isn't going to. I think this is probably a go the distance kind of fight. This is going to be a lot of slow, heavyweight punching. Don't want to get hit. But this is the thing. Mohammed Usman has a few more ways to victory because he is able to wrestle this man. He is able to strike with this man. So that's why I've got to go with him over Parkin. I just, you know what I mean? I think there's a little bit more backing behind Usman than there is Parkin as far as training and his brother being, you know what I mean, a former champion. So,
No, I feel you. I mean, I want to go for Usman, but the thing about it is I just feel like that's kind of the issue, is all that muscle. As it starts to fucking, you start filling up with blood after a while from all the wrestling and, punches being thrown and all that shit. Like, he, I feel like, puts himself at a disadvantage being that damn big.
Right. And I agree with you. So I think the win-all, be-all in this fight is pacing. If Usman's able to pace himself throughout the fight, at the decision, at the judge's time, he can win it. Mm-hmm. If he decides to wrestle really heavy in the first and the second round and gasses himself out to where now he's moving slower than molasses, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I can literally see, like, Usman clipping Parkin, going for the finish, not getting it, and then gassing himself out. And then Parkin weathers the storm and then just takes this into, deep water and is just able to squeak out a point fight. That's what I see.
Very big possibility, for sure.
Well, made the best pick win. Just know, this man's going to start off 0-1 on this next card. So, just...
All right, I've already given my man...
I would just steer clear of Usman, Parkin altogether.
I've already given my man his flowers, right? He's up on me by one. Redemption time, just so y'all are aware. All right, let's get it figured out.
Okie dokie. Moving on, we got a flyweight bout between Igor De Silva going up against Andre Lima. De Silva's coming in 8-0. This will be their UFC debut. We also got Lima coming in at 7-0, making their UFC debut as well. I'm going to be going with Lima. I just believe that they're going to be the better striker, and their grappling is going to be decent enough to basically, defend against takedowns and just keep it on the feet, where I believe they'll be the crispier, cleaner striker. De Silva is just too wild for me, basically, is what that comes down to. Like, he definitely is going to bring the fight to Lima. He's going to pose a threat. He's definitely probably the more dangerous of the two fighters. But I just feel like he's a little too wild, gets a little reckless. Is going to be, overly shooting for the finish that they could potentially gas themselves out. Being that I think they've only went to the third round once in their career so far. So just something to note. I'm going to be going with Lima.
I agree with the Andre Lima pick. Igor is just a sloppy striker. He has heart. I think he has cardio. I just think Lima has better striking, better grappling. They're going to meet in the center of the cage from the second the bell rings. I guess there's not a bell, but whatever. That dude says fight. And it's going to be a immediate clash of heads. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I just think, like you said, that Lima's far more crispier than Igor. And so I've got to go with Lima in this one.
I feel like it's going to be a thing where Lima is going to start piecing him up on the feet at a certain point, and then De Silva's going to go for takedowns. And I think that's where they're going to end up gassing themselves out. And then Lima's just going to eventually take over. Most likely take this one to a decision victory as well. What do you think? You think this fight finishes? If it does, I would say that's going to lean more towards the De Silva side as far as probability of finish. But in terms of who I just think can win the fight, potentially by finish with cleaner striking, but most likely I believe it'll be Lima by decision.
I'll go Lima, late second. Late second, third round. I'm going to say a knockout win, ground and pound.
I can see him winning like a standing knockout, just kind of puts homeboy up against the fence. He starts shelling up, and then eventually the referee just has to
I don't know if this is going to go. I don't believe it's going to go decision. I've got to look at the odds. And whether there's some value there. But I do think Lima can end him late second, somewhere into the third, versus it's obviously not going to be a first round bout. I'll tell you that. Mm-hmm. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we'll both be going with Lima in this one. Moving on, we got a bantamweight bout in the women's division. We got Monserrat Rendon going up against Darya Zheleznyakova. We got Monserrat coming in at 6-0, 1-0 in the UFC, and then we got Zheleznyakova coming in at 8-1, making their UFC debut. They're 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I'm going to be going with Monserrat on this one. I just believe that their grappling is going to be key in this bout. Granted, all of her wins are by decision, so she's definitely just looking to, grind out, a dominant grappling, decision. But I feel like Zheleznyakova just really only has a puncher's chance. From what I can see, they don't really have any ground game except for maybe just good defense. But I feel like Monserrat is going to get this fight to the ground, and then we're really going to see what Zheleznyakova is made of. So I'll be going with Monserrat in this fight.
I'm not sure why you feel like you need to say her last name. Fuck that shit. Darya. Darya. Looks like a sloppy street fighter to me. Wild punches. She looks like she's beating up bitches for her baby daddy. And she just does not look like a polished MMA fighter to me. Monserrat, better striking, better grappling, poised fighter. And I think she is definitely I think this is kind of an easy one to call, in my opinion. Darya has knocked a lot of people out, but if you actually go and watch those fights, but they're kind of hard to find on YouTube, she's wildly swinging, going for haymakers, and every now and again she catches a bitch. I'm
going to be going with Monserrat on this one for sure.
Yeah, that's an easy one for me to pick. Let's move. What we got next?
Next up, we got a featherweight bout between Steve Nguyen going up against Jarno Errens. I'm gonna be going with Nguyen in this fight. They're 9-1 overall, making their UFC debut. Errens is 13-5. 0-2 in the UFC and 2-3 in their last 5. I feel like Nguyen's gonna put a pace on Errens and is, basically just gonna piece him up on the feet. I feel like Errens is going to be able to, withstand the punishment and, will be very durable. I just don't believe that they're going to be able to keep up with the pace that Nguyen's going to put on him. And if you look at Errens' record, they actually lose primarily by decision. So Nguyen, he's got a strong gas tank. So if he doesn't finish the fight, he'll be able to just basically dominate and point fight his way to a victory.
Stephen Nguyen has finished 2 of his last 3 fights. My other guy is 0-2 in the UFC. Like, beat it. Like, get out of here. I don't see any reason why Stephen Nguyen can't get this. If you look at fantasy lineups, Nguyen's number 1 in fantasy lineups. And having followed those for quite a while, generally number 1, other than Nuchetsku. Go fuck that guy.
Thanks, Pally.
Generally, they're great. Like that's almost a guaranteed pick. Mm-hmm. For the most part, you know what I mean. They're in the 90th percentile on that kind of on that shit. So Nguyen wins this one. Not a real worry here. I feel good about that pick for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Nguyen is he's going to most likely end this fight either late 3rd round or by decision. The only reason why I'm hesitant to say that he may finish it is because it took him a really long time to finish off AJ Cunningham in a Contender Series fight. And don't get me wrong, AJ Cunningham's super durable, but literally like to a fault. Like he eventually it's like punching a fucking zombie after a while. Like I've seen in that fight with Nguyen, and then in his next fight, like those things, like it was like the ref let him just get beat. Right, just bad.
So Nguyen, is it a sub? Is it a KO, or are you just gonna call the less than 4.5?
It'll be a standing KO, kind of like what
standing KO.
Yeah,
okay.
Kind of like what I was talking about with the Igor Lima fight. I could just see him, finally just putting him up against the cage and just basically just piecing him up until the ref has to step in. Mm-hmm. I don't see him dropping this dude because this dude literally has no knockout losses against him. Excuse me. But I just don't think he's going to be able to keep up with Nguyen. So I think he'll just either get finished late in the fight or lose by points.
Okay.
All right, so moving on, we got a bantamweight bout between Miles Johns going up against Cody Gibson. Miles Johns is coming in at 13-2, 4-2 in the UFC, and are 3-2 in their last 5. You got Gibson coming in at 19-9. They're 1-4 in the UFC and 3-2 in their last 5. I'm gonna go with Johns, and I'm not necessarily like super confident about it, but in this fight, I have to go with him. I just feel like he's the better overall fighter. He's going to be the younger fighter. And Gibson's super durable, but I just don't think that they're quite UFC caliber. I would say they're more so a regional scene kind of guy. Definitely, can run the table outside of the UFC, but inside, he just hasn't been able to get over the hump.
I've got to agree with the Miles Johns pick. He's 7 years younger. My guy's been 1-4 in the UFC. Tapology has this fight for Miles Johns by 78%. Not that I always believe in Tapology, but like this one seems like another easy pick for us. I just don't see Cody Gibson winning this one, even though Johns is taking this on a short notice. I think they did Gibson a disservice by giving him Miles Johns. Johns is getting ready to
it's almost like they
handle some business.
They gave him a winnable fight, and then when the opponent withdrew, they were like, all right. Sorry, Cody. We're just going to get you right up on out of here.
Yeah, because his previous fight was going to be with Davey Grant, which I think that is a far better matchup for him. But now that's gone. So
yeah,
Miles Johns is about to be smashed.
That's what I don't necessarily. I'm not the biggest Miles Johns fan, but I just think in this one, this is kind of open and shut. Gibson's gonna like I said, he's gonna be durable, so he's gonna put up a fight. But yeah, I just think this one will probably either be a late finish again or just Miles Johns just winning by points. Moving on, we got a featherweight bout between Ricardo Ramos going up against Julian Erosa. Ramos is coming in at 16-5 overall, 7-4 in the UFC, and 2-3 in their last 5. Erosa's coming in at 28-11, 6-7 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. I'm gonna be going with Ramos in this fight. They're gonna be the more dangerous fighter. They're the younger fighter, and had it not been for these past 2 TKO losses, or actually knockout losses, that Erosa's went through, I would be more inclined to pick Erosa because I do like the pace that they put on. They're very durable, but apparently that durability is starting to come into question because they definitely got knocked out their last 2 fights. So I'm going to be going with Ramos. I just believe they'll be the more dangerous fighter and more likely to end the fight. Whereas if Erosa was going to win this fight, it would literally be by points. So I'm going to go with Ramos.
I got to go with the Ramos too. He is 6 years younger. I know we talk about that a lot. I'm the age Nazi or something like that. But at the end of the day, Ramos is the younger fighter. Erosa not only got chinned in his last 2 fights, he got chinned in the first round of his last 2 fights.
Yeah.
That's not a good look for your boy. So I've got to go with Ramos.
I'll give him one thing, though. One of those losses was to Fernando Padilla, and it was trending in the direction of him losing. Let's not get that twisted. Like, Erosa was losing, but at the point that the fight was stopped wasn't necessarily when it should have been stopped. He was still defending himself. Not to say that he wouldn't have eventually gotten finished, but he definitely didn't get a chance to actually be finished that's a finish. It was kind of like there was a little bit of question, little bit of gray area in there, but nonetheless, still in the first round has seen adversity as opposed.
He saw an ass beating. Yeah. He saw his fucking body slapped around. Like, he was getting mauled by a fucking rabbit pit bull. Like, it was bad, bro. Like, yes, it was an early stoppage. I'll agree with you. But probably for his benefit, because he wasn't getting up from it. He wasn't gonna stop it.
Well, that's the complexity of being a referee. If you don't stop it quick enough, then you got the fighter's safety. But then when you stop it too soon, then all of a sudden you got
it's my pocket
saying,
safety.
Let me go out on my shield. So it's just like damned if you do, damned if you don't. So like I said, in that fight though, if it needed to be stopped, it needed to be stopped for Padilla. But at the same time, it wasn't completely over.
It wasn't, but okay. Bet $1. You bet $1, I bet $100. Do you bet that he was going to come back in that round?
No.
Yeah. There you go.
I just wanted to put that out there. But, yeah, I mean, Erosa, unfortunately, looks to be potentially a little chinny. So we're going to be going with Ramos in this fight. Moving on, we got a lightweight bout between Trey Ogden going up against Holobaugh. Ogden's coming in at 16-6 overall, 1-2 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. Holobaugh is 20-7, 1-4 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. I'm gonna be going with Ogden in this fight. I just feel like they're going to be the better grappler. I just feel like they're one of those sticky grapplers that once they latch onto you, they don't let go. They're going to grind you out, to a decision if necessary. But if they're able to break you, then they'll be able to finish you off in that regard too. He literally, in his last fight, manhandled Nicholas Mata. And just because of a bad referee stoppage, he ended up with a no contest. But he literally was well on his way to winning that fight by decision. And it looked like he had ended the fighter, but apparently the fighter was just, playing relaxed or whatever, and the ref took that as him being out. Fighter wakes up immediately doesn't wake up, but, protests the stoppage immediately as it's done. So then there was no choice but to, I guess, call it a no contest. But that was literally a win that was robbed and taken away from Trey Ogden. Anyway, so with that being said, Holobaugh, although very dangerous, I just don't think he's UFC caliber. I think, once again, one of those guys who can fucking run the regional circuit, be, potentially, give PFL and, Bellator fighters and, LFA fighters, all the smoke they can handle. But just in the UFC hasn't been able to, really, showcase why they should be there.
Trey Ogden wins this fight. He's a better wrestler. I think this is another 1-4 fight, which is weird. They have him back to back. That Kurt Holobaugh is a 1-4. It's I don't know. This is kind of a weird card. I like the fact that it's an easier card for me to pick. But yeah, I'm not sure why they did that. Troy Ogden all day. Not going to say too much more about that. He's in my lineup, so let's go.
Oh, are we going into the main card?
I believe this is the main card.
My apologies. Moving on to the main card, we got a featherweight bout between Luis Pajuelo going up against Fernando Padilla. We got Pajuelo coming in at 8-1, making their UFC debut, and they're currently on a 5-fight win streak. We got Padilla coming in at 15-5, 1-1 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. Now it's funny because I just mentioned Padilla in the Erosa fight, potentially have gotten a early stoppage in their favor. Well, it's funny because in the fight that Padilla lost in the UFC, that looked like a bad decision.
Yeah.
He took on Kyle Nelson and looked to have just, owned him for 3 rounds. Don't get me wrong, like, Kyle Nelson held his own, but they ended up giving Nelson the nod, I guess because somehow he did land more strikes or something in the fight. But
the damage was, evident on Kyle Nelson's face, right?
Yeah.
We both watched that fight.
Yeah, and I mean, not only was Padilla surprised, but we were surprised. We were just like, what? So, it's funny. So he very well should be 2-0 in the UFC, but unfortunately he just didn't get the nod his way in one of the decisions. And then in his fight that he did win, it was kind of controversial because it wasn't necessarily a good stoppage. It was a little premature. So with that being said, I'm still going with Padilla in this fight. I just feel like they're going to be the cleaner, more composed striker. They're also a counter striker at that, which I think is going to play into their hands with the way that Pajuelo fights. So I just feel like Pajuelo's very dangerous but very reckless. And being that a lot of their fights haven't went past the first round, depending on the pace he decides to put on in that first round, I just believe that
thanks, buddy.
He'll be able to he might gas himself out, and then Padilla can just take over for the rest of the fight and just win another point battle.
And, I mean, I've got to disagree with you on this one, but not fully. It's not that I believe that you're picking a terrible fighter by any means. This is probably one of the toughest fights on this card to call. I think that Pajuelo or Luis, we're going to go with Luis. I think that Luis is better than Kyle Nelson. That being said, I think that he matches up better with Fernando, and so that he can definitely possibly win this fight, and I believe he might. If you are parlaying with me, let me say this. If you decide, I'm just going to parlay all the race picks or however you're going to do that, I would make the parlay and I would flip these two fights. You know what I mean? Do one with Luis and then do another one with Fernando. Just to hedge your bets, essentially. This is a tough fight. This is a very good matchup. The matchmakers have definitely got it figured out on this one. I've definitely done that same thing, but my pick for you guys is I am picking Luis Pajuelo or whatever his fucking name is.
All right. Well, moving on, we got a featherweight bout between Billy Quarantillo going up against Youssef Zalal. Let me go through this and then I'm gonna make this really quick. Billy Quarantillo coming in at 18-5, 6-3 in the UFC, 3-2 in their last 5. You got Zalal coming in at 13-5-1, 3-3 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. I'm going with Quarantillo in this fight. Zalal's coming in on short notice. Quarantillo is definitely UFC caliber, whereas Zalal is not, in my opinion. Not only are they coming in on short notice, but even in their tenure with the UFC, it was well known that their gas tank isn't the greatest, and that they fade as the fight goes on. So I'm going to be going with Quarantillo. He's going to put on a high pace. He's super durable, and this is just one of those ones where a fighter dropped out, and now instead of them doing what they did to Cody Gibson, they're actually serving him up an alley-oop, in my opinion.
And I gotta agree with you. So I was kind of really big on Zalal, but I watched his last 3 fights, which literally all happened in the same day. On Sparta SC. It was literally a boxing match, a kickboxing match, and then an MMA match. And he won all 3, right? Because he was at some point in the UFC. But those are 3 of his professional fight wins, counting towards that record. And he was fighting. Do I be disrespectful or do I did? But fuck it. He was fighting tomato cans. He was fighting regional guys. He was supposed to win. He was in the UFC. Do I think he's UFC caliber? No. I think he's LFA caliber. I think he's Bellator caliber. I think he's Strikeforce caliber. He's close. He's right there, but he's just not a great UFC prospect. I almost picked this man until I really kind of went back and did my research. Billy Quarantillo is far more durable, and I just don't see a way that Zalal wins. Zalal will put a lot of pressure on him first round for sure. Second, you mean late second, third? If it gets to that point, not so much. But also, Quarantillo in that first round is going to give it right back to him. Mm-hmm. So either way, the durability is definitely with Quarantillo, and then also just the better MMA fighter is Quarantillo. So I've got to go Quarantillo on this one.
Definitely. Moving on, we got a bantamweight bout between Peyton Talbot going up against Cameron Saaiman. We got Talbot coming in undefeated at 7-0, 1-0 in the UFC. Saaiman's coming in at 9-1, 3-1 in the UFC, and 4-1 in their last 5. I'm going to be going with Saaiman on this one. I just feel like after their last fight, even though it was a loss, there was a lot to take from that loss. And not only was he going against a fighter who was heavier than them, but proved to also be more skilled than him, mostly on the ground, and was still able to hold their own the entire time. I feel like they're super well-rounded and showed to be very durable during that fight as well. So I'm going to be going with Saaiman just because I feel like Talbot has room for improvement. He's super good, and has a lot of promise. But I feel like they could still, round out some edges. So I'm going to be going with Saaiman, not because his name's Cameron, but because I do believe he's going to actually win this fight.
I mean, I'm not going with him because his name is Cameron either. But I am going with him because, again, like you just said, he took a short notice fight against, was that Christian Roybal?
Christian Rodriguez,
where the man was 10 pounds heavier than him. And still showed up, still went throughout the entire fight, never was finished. Had some great moments in that fight. And that's the only reason he's got an L on his record right now. He's a far better fighter than Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot is, in my opinion, arrogant. He's an arrogant fighter. I don't like that he thinks he's as good as he is. He kind of he gives me that like the Silva, the Anderson Silva kind of vibe without the record of Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is allowed to act the way that Anderson Silva has acted because he was literally putting on a masterclass. Peyton Talbot's not putting on a masterclass. Nick Aguayo, which was his last fight, had him taken down twice or multiple times in the first and the second round. Peyton Talbot was able to turn it around, was able to finish the fight. Great. But you're fighting entry-level UFC fighters. You're fighting contender series style fighters. You're not fighting a Cameron Saaiman who's ready to fight anybody at any time. This is my lock of the night. I do not believe there's any motherfucking way that Peyton Talbot beats Cameron Saaiman.
Oh, shit, okay. I don't know. I mean, Talbot, yeah, that's the thing, is like that Nick Aguirre fight that he was in. Aguirre gave him a lot of problems in that first round. And then, even as the fight started going Talbot's way, he still just wasn't able to put homeboy away until late in the third round. So, not even late in the third round, but just in the third round. So, yeah, I feel like Saaiman's way better than Nick Aguirre, so I feel like he's going to take it to Talbot.
Absolutely, and he's fighting at his correct weight, right? He's not fighting up, and I just respect that. I respect the fact that he's able to just show up when he needs to show up.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, so moving on, we got a middleweight bout between Edmund Shabazian going up against AJ Dobson. We got Shabazian coming in at 12-4 overall, 5-4 in the UFC, and 1-4 in their last 5. We got AJ Dobson coming in at 7-2, 1-2 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. I'm gonna be going with Dobson in this fight. I just believe that they'll be the more durable and dangerous fighter. They're somewhat well-rounded, but really this is mostly just about their opponent. Shabazian, unfortunately, to me, is just kind of like one of those young prospects who didn't pan out. He's on a slide currently and has proved to be pretty chinny and has a really bad gas tank. Like, he definitely is going to try to end this fight because if it goes into that third round, he's not going to be looking good. And unless Dobson is just worse for wear, Shabazian should be able, Dobson should be able to put Shabazian away and or just dominate them for the majority of the fight. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got on this.
That's right. And Dobson has more paths to victory. Shabazian is another one of those 1-4 fighters in the last 5 fights. Like, I'm not sure if we're doing some spring cleaning in the UFC or what's going on, but we're literally, we ran into 3 fighters who are 1-4 in the UFC. Like, get these motherfucking bums out of here.
Chill the fuck out, bro.
It just is what it is. Or
Chill
at least,
the fuck out,
get
bro.
back to
Who the fuck is that guy?
Your mom's a hoe.
Excuse me.
AJ Dobson.
If you don't chill the fuck out, I'm gonna have to hit you in the face.
You want to do something, bitch?
Get your ass on,
I will find you.
It's an easy win for him.
And I will kill you.
But that's what I
Wait,
got.
what?
Nah, I believe Dobson can end this fight anywhere between the second half of the second round or the third round. If it goes that far and Shabazian ain't the one who's actually like winning at that point, it's gonna get dark for him real soon. All right, moving on. We got a heavyweight bout. It's the co-main event between Carl Williams going up against Justin Tafa. We got Williams coming in at 9-1 overall, 2-0 in the UFC, and are currently on a 6-fight winning streak. We got Tafa coming in at 7-3, 4-3 in the UFC, and then 3-2 in their last 5. I'm gonna be going with Tafa in this fight. I just believe that they're gonna be the power puncher, the more dangerous fighter, and they've never been submitted, which I feel like is going to play a huge factor in whether or not Williams is able to do anything in this fight, because I feel like I don't think they're going to want to punch with Tafa. So their best route to victory would be to grapple. And I think that Tafa will have decent enough grapple defense to be able to keep it on the feet and eventually catch Williams. And if not in the first round, then at any time in this fight, I feel like Tafa's power will carry over. I've noticed that Williams can start to fade as the fight goes on. So if he allows Tafa to stick around, there's a high probability that all Tafa needs to do is touch that chin, and then things can turn on a dime in an instant. So I'm going to be going with Tafa. Williams is a good grappler, but if he's not able to get it going, I don't see him being able to punch with Tafa.
Carl Williams is definitely the better grappler of the two. He's going to be the smaller fighter in this fight, in a heavyweight fight. So he's not going to be able to impose his wrestling the same way that he might on most other heavyweights. Because I think he's outweighed by, I want to say 15 to 25 pounds by Tafa. Because Tafa's going to come in at 265. And Carl Williams will come in about 240, right? but he does have a couple more ways to victory. He does have the cardio to go into the deep water. I mean, and I know this, but also just like look at the fucking two pictures of these two dudes. You know what I mean? Tafa's carrying a lot more weight than he should be. If these dudes are both as lean, you know what I mean, like similarly lean, I go Tafa all day. Tafa has hands. Tafa has power. Tafa can literally end a fight at any moment if he catches you clean. Carl Williams does have great striking defense. So what I would imagine, this is kind of how I see the fight going, is Carl Williams will, you know what I mean, just weather the storm in the first round, weather the storm in the second round. Third round, Tafa's tired. Tafa's been, you know what I mean, just punching his life away. And now Carl Williams does have the chance to actually shoot for a takedown, possibly get it, and Tafa can't get off his back. He's going to look like a turtle. And at that point, either Carl Williams is able to impose his submission ability, or he's able to impose a ground and pound and just get a little bit of a control time there. So it's really going to be about him being able to do to win one of the first two rounds. If he can win the second round, and then the control time in the third round, I think is his. So the second round is really going to decide this fight.
Yeah, I mean, if this fight goes to decision, then most likely it'll play in the Carl Williams' favor. But the entire time, Justin Tafa is live and put his lights out.
Right, and Tafa loses by decision. It's just kind of how it works for him. Like if he's not ending you, like he fades.
Yeah. So you're going with Williams.
I'm definitely going with Williams over Tafa. Now, I will say this. This isn't a super confident pick. This isn't a lock or anything like that. If you were, again, doing parlays, if you're doing lineups, flip-flop Williams and Tafa. But my honest opinion, I'm going with Williams.
All right. Your best pick wins. All right.
I don't you know what, bro? Like, you look too confident. Like, oh, yeah. Let the best pick win. Oh.
Hey,
like, you got one win on me, my guy. Like, I've been running this shit for literally, what is that? 2.5 months. Like, you know what I mean? You're good. You're solid. I respect it. Don't, you know what I mean? Just know. Your boy's coming back.
Came back about 5 fights in the last 2 events. Busting your ass. Let's put that into perspective.
But this is the thing. I've been busting your ass consistently before then. So, like, you're only up on me by one. One fight.
I know, but,
one fight.
But it was...
So, only thing that changes.
But it's 5 fights in 2 events that I had to claw back from in 2 events.
Well, okay.
You had to pull ahead of me for about 7 events straight to even put any distance between us. I just said, whoop, brought that shit right back in 2 events. So let's just remember that.
So you can never give niggas an inch, man, because they're going to take a fucking mile, bro. This man's got one fight. One fight, folks.
Hey. Here's to the top picker on this show. And also, fucking newly minted Parlay Profit. I'm him right now. That's all I'm saying. I'm him right now. But, you know, the purpose is that everybody eats. So, hey.
I hate this shit.
Fuck out of here, boy. Get that weak shit out of here.
All right, folks. Moving on to the main event of the evening. We got a flyweight bout between Amanda Ribas going up against Rose Namajunas. We got Ribas coming in at 12-4 overall, 7-3 in the UFC, and they're 3-2 in their last 5 fights. We got Namajunas coming in at 11-6 overall, 9-5 in the UFC, and 3-2 in their last 5. I'm gonna be going with Namajunas in this fight. At the end of the day, they are the better overall fighter, striker. They're a former champ. I mean, their schedule, their strength of competition, I mean, is it's unmatched, especially in comparison to Ribas. And I mean, they've fought a fight at this weight class. So now, like, you know, getting used to being in this weight class, I feel like now they'll be able to fight as a true flyweight, you know, at least as best they can, being that they moved up from strawweight. But I feel like they'll be more versed in this weight class. Ribas has jumped between strawweight and flyweight here recently in the past couple years of their career. So this isn't going to be anything new for her, but I do believe that there's more of an advantage on Namajunas' side having consecutive fights in this weight class as opposed to Ribas jumping in between divisions. So I'm going to be going with Namajunas. I also believe that Ribas she's going to be the overly aggressive fighter. And I really only think that's going to open things up for Rose, who is a counter striker. But then also, I really only believe that Ribas can win this fight if Rose gets in her own way. Basically, if Rose comes in not fucking focused, or if their confidence starts to waver in any sort of way, that I believe that's the only way they can lose this fight. Otherwise, they should be able to just piece Ribas up and potentially put on a master class if they do what they're known to do, which is, you know, kind of just be a striking
Today, Junior.
phenom, you know, in this women's division.
I've got to go with my girl, Mama Younes.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
Shouts out Caleb Kai, bruh. I'm dead.
Mama Younes. Love her. She's gonna win. Thug Rose. All the things you just said. She's had better competition. People feel like she's sliding, but she's only lost 2 fights recently. And one of them, she fought to decision with a broken pinky. That's mad respect. You got to give mad respect on that. She is far better than Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas lost to...
Nigga, this is not a touch screen.
Whatever, nigga. Macy Barber. That right there, I think, is enough for me.
That was her last time in flyweight.
Yeah. And so I just...
And then
I think
she returned in a strawweight bout and went 3 rounds with a lower level competitor, in my opinion, she used to train with.
Sure.
And was only able to win late in the 3rd round.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So Thug Rose.
Going to be better than
She's going to win. I'm with it. Like, I don't got to say a whole lot. Like, we all know who Mama Younes is. Caleb.
Oh, shit. Well,
also,
right.
Shouts out Travis.
Yeah, shout out my guy Travis, bro. So yeah, that wraps up the picks and predictions portion of the show. Real quick, I guess if we want to go into
Parlay Profit. You about to hit him with the Parlay Profit shit?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him with the little parlay real quick.
All right, let's pause it then, cause I got pee.
All right, for sure. All right, folks. So in terms of parlays, I feel like I got me a nice little 4-banger here. So I'm gonna say I want to go with Nguyen, Johns, Ogden, and Quarantillo. And then if you want to spice it up, then I would definitely go AJ Dobson. And if you want to make it super spicy, then throw Rose Namajunas in on top of that for a 6 pick.
All right. Parlay gods here. I'm going to give you my, let's go 4.
Okay.
I'm going to hit you with the 4. It's going to be Lima Johns, Simon, and Rendon. And then I'm going to give you 3 spicies, right? So make it cheap, right? Like add one, put that in. Add another one, put it in. Add another one, put it in, right? Rose for my 5 picker. Ramos for my 6 picker. And Quarantillo for my 7 picker.
Okay.
7 pick parlay. I ain't gonna say it yet, but next episode, when shit hits, y'all let me know what happened.
Well, I don't think none of your choices go in opposition to me, so this parlay should be good to go, folks.
I don't need your motherfucking guarantee. Get the fuck up out of here, bruh. See?
Oh,
one
shit,
fight.
son.
About one fight, my
Oh,
boy.
shit. So, yeah. Anything else?
I feel like this is a successful number 10.
Hey. Yo, we're celebrating our 10th episode here on Bros Talk MMA. So, salute to everybody that's been watching. We really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Follow us at Bros Talk MMA on IG. You can follow my bro here at r1.mason. You can follow myself at Utica_SME. Yeah. We're looking forward to the next 10 of these. And, win or lose, as long as y'all are tuning in and rocking with what we're doing here, that's a win overall. So,
Yeah. I mean, we want you guys to rock with us. I think either way, we're going to do it. We're just going to keep showing up because I really enjoy picking the fights. I know you do as well. I enjoy betting on the fights, and I enjoy watching the fights. So, it's good no matter what. So, we do want y'all to tune in, but either way, you guys are going to keep seeing our faces.
Yeah, definitely. So, with that being said, until the next time, happy betting, good luck, and we will see you on the next one.